Hello everyone, welcome back to Cryptid Unscripted. Now if you're into your cryptids, you've probably heard of areas of high strangeness. That's areas where different types of phenomena have appeared in the same place. We're talking UFOs, intelligent light forms, ILFs, cryptid creatures, big cats, and often those places have a bit of a legend as well, going back in folklore. Now I've probably coined a new term here because I would class this probably as an area of high-ish strangeness. And this is Barnetby in North Lincolnshire. Barnetby has got all of these things, but only in moderation. Most areas of high strangeness, such as Cannock Chase, the Bempton area near Bridlington for example, have got many and frequent occurrences of these phenomena all the time, from years ago to modern times. But Barnetby has only got a few of each really, and a lot of those are concentrated in particular periods, like the UFOs are only for a few years, as we'll see later on in the video. So it's not quite as highly strange as a lot of areas of high strangeness, if that makes any sense. So for those who don't know where it is, the direction we're looking now, Scunthorpe is across there. If I turn around, Immingham with its oil refineries is kind of in that direction, and if you go over that hill in that direction you find Humberside Airport, and beyond that Grimsby. So that's the kind of area that we're looking at. It's probably better known for its railway station, which is where I'm starting the video. It's popular with railway enthusiasts because there's still quite a lot of freight trains coming through, and it's also the nearest station to Humberside Airport, as I've just mentioned. So let's start with the intelligent light forms. Now I'm filming this video towards the end of July in 2026, and up to a few days ago I had one report to give you, and it was from kind of over there. You can't really see from here. Hopefully I'm going to walk around. If I zoom in a little bit, possibly in the far distance you can see a ridge of hills. If you can look in that direction, if you go over them, that's the sort of outpost of the Lincolnshire Wolds, the escarpment of it. And on the other side is the River Humber, the village of South Ferriby, kind of over in that direction. And it was from South Ferriby over the hills of the Wolds that an intelligent light form was seen. Unfortunately, I can't recall the date of it. I did read the report in a book somewhere. I've been looking frantically for the last few days and I can't find the book anywhere, so I don't know, but it was about the early 2010s, I think. It was at night time, after midnight I believe it was, and as I say, it was seen from South Ferriby but over the hills, so you would have been able to see it from this side as well. And it was a fairly standard intelligent light form, at that term of course first coined by the excellent Paul Sinclair, to describe lights that just kind of appear and disappear at random. And it was a fairly normal one, a kind of orangey coloured circular light, looking a bit like a spotlight that just lit up and then went off again. And that would have been the only entry for this little section until a couple of days ago. I'm going to turn around and I'll tell you a bit more. So a couple of days ago I was on this station, so Thursday the 23rd of July 2026, I was on this station looking this way. It was about 11:50 in the morning, so we're coming up to midday, broad daylight, and I saw an intelligent light form, not one of the more common circular ones. If you read Paul Sinclair's Truth Proof books, which are well worth a read, you will find that there's other ones as well, like little flashes of light. And it was in the area, if you see the tree, the big tree on the left there, just next to the railway line, and you can see another tree just past the old signal box. If I zoom in, it should be in the centre of your screen now, that tree there. So I was looking from the platform and it was kind of between the two, and it was just a little flash. They're not always circular, like I say, you get little flashes of rectangular light or something like that, and that's all it was. Literally a pulse, like a second, not even that maybe. And it was kind of an oblong, but with the longer side vertically, but kind of distorted. So I'll try and demonstrate using the map. It was kind of that shape, and obviously it was up in the air, it was higher than I can hold it, between the two trees, as I say, and it was kind of, if you bent the map, this is not going well, sorry, just excuse me. Yeah, if you kind of bent it back like that, it was kind of that shape. And it was a very, very brief flash. It was a bit like sheet lightning. Obviously sheet lightning illuminates the entire sky, not just one small little rectangle of it. So yeah, it was very, very strange. The height of it in the sky was probably where the top of this nearest tree is, that kind of height. As I say, it was somewhere in the middle between the two trees. just up, and it was a very strange thing. It was just a little pulse of light, but just a little tiny area. But one of Paul Sinclair's theories, if you read the books, is that these light forms can kind of sense what you're thinking sometimes. And I had been thinking, as I sort of came to the station, about the fact that I was going to do this video in a couple of days' time. I got it in my mind, and then I don't know if that was, you know, a trigger for it, shall we say, if it decided to give me a little taster of what you can see around here. I don't know, but yeah, intelligent life forms anyway, as likely to show in the daylight as in the dark. I mean, more are seen in the dark, but it's because people tend to look for them more in the dark, but they are seen fairly commonly in daylight as well. It's not unknown. So what should we do next? Shall we do UFOs or shall we do big cats? I'll tell you what, let's do big cats. So the big cat part of this video is in two bits. First of all, I'm just to the east of Barnetby station. The station is behind me, back through the trees there. The railway line is alongside me to the left, and in January of 2006 a passenger on a train reported seeing a large black cat walking along the footpath between Barnetby and New Barnetby, this footpath that I'm standing on. Now obviously in the winter the undergrowth would be less dense, so it'd probably be easier to see the footpath. I suspect it was probably in the field next to me. You can get through into the field just back behind me there. But yeah, it was seen walking along here. It was also seen the other side of the station, well, quite some way beyond, in the Barnetby area. I'll show you where that is later on. We're going to go up that way a bit later. In around 2005 as well, a large black cat was seen in the village of Great Limber, which is across there, basically the direction we're looking in. If you go over the hill and past the airport, it's the other side of there on the A18 road. And a big cat was seen in that village as well in around 2005, a big black cat. There's also been a puma seen in the area. Again, I'll cover that when I get to the other side of the station. The second big cat sighting of 2006 was another large black cat, and that was out towards Barnetby, as I said earlier on, so it was in that general direction. You've got the railway line there, the line of trees and the hedge running along, and Barnetby is kind of in that direction, just past the junction on the railway line. If you carry on towards Scunthorpe, you come to it. Again, it was seen by a passenger from a passing train. The notable thing about the big cat sightings in this area is they've all been in daylight. Obviously you couldn't see a big cat, especially a black one, at night from a train, because all you can see when you travel through this area at night is the reflection of yourself in the window. So they're all seen in daylight. In 2023, September 2023, somebody that I know who researches big cats in the Doncaster area saw a puma just the other side of the railway line, just about there. If you go across the railway, it was making its way across a field in that kind of area. So that's two different big cats. The black cat we can assume has either moved on or passed on, because it's not been seen for about 20 years at the moment. So yeah, I'm not aware of any reports of it anyway, unless it's been seen and people haven't reported it. But there does appear to be a puma in the area somewhere more recently, so that's obviously just a few years ago that was reported. Very, very interesting. And again, the puma was sighted in the daytime. It was about 20 past 1 in the afternoon, in broad daylight, say in September. Quite a sunny, dry day, I believe. So it was clearly seen by the person who reported it to me. And yeah, there was no mistaking what it was. So next we come to UFOs. Now, this is another example of why this is an area of high-ish strangeness, because there were 4 reports of UFOs, all in a concentrated period between 1997 and 2002, and there's been none since. Now, there have been a lot of UFO sightings around Lincolnshire, and I'm doing a series, I'm preparing a series at the moment as I film this, about some of the sightings in North Lincolnshire and North East Lincolnshire, and other areas beyond. Now, there have been sightings in various other places, and you think the things that have been sighted there might have passed over here. For example, on the same day there'd been a sighting in Hull and one in the sort of Midlands, and you think, well, going from Hull to the Midlands, it probably passed over here. Another example, there was one seen in Immingham and another one in Scunthorpe on the same day, and you think, again, Immingham, Scunthorpe, they probably came through this area, but it's just nobody reported them in this actual area, they just reported them elsewhere. So probably quite a few more have passed across the skies in this area, the area of Barnetby. It is possible that the concentration was just because somebody who was into UFOs lived here for a bit and then they moved and they stopped being reported. That is a possibility. It doesn't say in the records who actually reported the UFO sightings, and I think that is a thing that does happen. I noticed from the declassified MOD reports that there were quite a lot of ones from Erdington in Birmingham, and you think, well, yeah, I mean, if the visitors from other planets, or even if it's like, you know, some secret military craft being developed by ourselves or another country, perhaps they might be interested in looking at Birmingham, but why would they just go to Erdington? Why not, you know, Sparkbrook or Perry Bar or anywhere else in that city? And it probably is just somebody who was really into UFOs and kept watching lived in Erdington. And similarly with Barnetby, it's quite possible that somebody lived here between 1997, when the first report is, and 2002 when the last one was, and then they just moved somewhere else, and that's why they stopped being reported. So the first report was in December 1997. It was of a large bright light with a black triangular shaped wing sticking out of it, and it was seen about 11:30 at night towards Barnetby Top, which is up the top of this road that we're looking down. If you go under the railway bridge up the hill, Barnetby Top is up there. The same craft was also seen just under 2 hours earlier, at 9:45 in the evening at Hornsea in East Yorkshire. So there were two sightings in the area. It appears to have hung around for quite a bit, but yeah, seen. So December 97, the exact date not recorded, but up Barnetby Top there. So the UFO reports in the area, the rest of them, so the next one after December 97 was September the 8th, 1998, when a large round circular object with orange lights around the outside was seen. Apparently the orange lights changed colour, but it doesn't say what colour they changed to. The centre had green lights which changed to blue. The time of day or night isn't recorded on that one either, but yeah, September the 8th, 1998. There was a bit of a gap then until April of 2000, when a big solid chevron shape with twinkling lights was seen. Twinkling orange lights around the edge of it. It moved fast and silently, apparently. And again, the time of day or night it was seen is not recorded. And the final one for the area was from April of 2002. At 1:50 in the morning, so 10 to 2 in the morning, a blue light was seen, followed by some yellow shooting stars and a loud bang. Now, I've got to say, that does sound to me like a firework, to be honest. Why exactly somebody would be letting it off at 10 to 2 in the morning, I don't know, but it's not unheard of. But it does sound a little bit like a firework. It may not have been. It's recorded in the Ministry of Defence files that have been declassified as an unidentified flying object, a UFO. So who are we to say? But yeah, and that was the last report that I'm aware of from the area. There are some more recent ones that stay in places around and about, and you think biological means some of those UFOs might have overflown the area on the way from one place to another. So any self-respecting area of high strangeness has a dogman. Now Barnetby kind of doesn't. It's another thing I mean about it being an area of high-ish strangeness. There was one reported in the general area, well, there has been for many, many years, in fact, from the 1600s up to 2021. Now, unfortunately, I've not been able to find any more details about it, including of the 2021 sighting. So it was reputed to haunt the area around Reed's Island, not in the River Humber there, not on the island itself, because there was a house there until very recent years, and you would expect that the owner of the house, the occupier of the house, would have noticed a dogman living on there with them. So I'm guessing it was on the mainland, just kind of around this area, sort of Ferriby Sluice. There's South Ferriby that I mentioned earlier on, and then down here is Barnetby. Now, there were reports of this dogman around this area, yes, but in other parts of Lincolnshire. And you think, well, to get from there to other parts of Lincolnshire, it would have had to come sort of near Barnetby at least, depending where it was going. So, yeah, it's the general area. As I said, there have been reports for many years. It's possible that the earlier reports, you know, from the 1600s onwards, mixed in with the shagfoal that we'll come to a bit later on. The shagfoal normally presented as a horse, sometimes headless, obviously, but other times it presented apparently as a skeletal black dog. And it's possible that the dogman and the shagfoal are kind of linked in with each other, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's a bit wishy-washy. There's no specific sightings of a dogman in the Barnetby area. And again, it's another reason that the area is just an area of high-ish strangeness, because any area, as I say, of high strangeness can normally field a dogman who appears quite regularly, like Cannock Chase for example, and this area it can't. But I'm continuing to do research into it all. If I do get any specifics, I will probably do another video, maybe a short one, but yeah, if I can find anything specific, I will put another video together, and if and when I do it, I will put a link in the description to that one. The final part of this video is the bit about the folklore, the sort of old folk tales, and the one around here is the shagfoal, also known as the lackey cosy calf. Basically it's what it sounds like, a shaggy looking horse, but walking on two legs, usually on its rear two legs. Apparently it used to try to lure people into a stream between Ropey and Brigg, which are both kind of just over there. It would hang about the road there trying to lure people into the stream using the light from its eyes. The story kind of deteriorates a little bit when it was still allowed to be doing that, but when it appeared headless. Apparently sometimes it would appear headless, but it would still try and lure people into the stream, and obviously you wonder how it did it, because if it was headless it wouldn't have had any eyes. But anyway, that's how the story goes. It was also seen in other parts of the area. Sometimes it was on all fours, but generally it was seen walking on its hind legs. It was a shapeshifter basically. It also apparently presented sometimes as a large black skeletal dog, which is alleged to be the same thing, even though it sounds completely different. And it may well be related to the dogman. As I said, the dogman reports went back to the 1600s, which would be about the time that this shagfoal was appearing. But whereas the dogman was reported as recently as 2021, the shagfoal seems to have stopped being reported sometime around the end of the 19th century. Sort of around 1885, 1890 is the last kind of reports of it, so it seems to have just died out. But yeah, that's the area's folklore anyway. So that's it from Barnetby. Thank you for watching as always. We didn't see anything today, but I didn't really expect to. I mean, the big cats have been seen in daylight. Anybody who watches UFOs and ILFs, the intelligent light forms, will say that they appear in the daytime as well. I saw one just the other day in the daytime, one of the ILFs. So, you know, you've got as good a chance in the daytime as you have at night, really. But we haven't seen anything today. I didn't really expect to be honest. But yeah, thank you for watching, as I say. And please tune in for further videos. I will put the UFO series that I mentioned on as and when I do them. There's going to be quite a few instalments, I think. But yeah, so keep an eye out for those. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.